UFC Fight Night, Dern versus Hill, Saturday, May 20th. My name's Kevin Allen, a.k.a. The Geek from DFS Army. I'm going to break this card down from a PrizePicks perspective. So before we move on, of course, we got to take a look at our results from the previous video. So I love breaking down UFC videos on PrizePicks. I think that this sport remains the most beatable because, hey, a lot of people don't really understand the scoring, interestingly. And PrizePicks doesn't have like book odds to compare a lot of their props to for MMA. So we end up with some really skewed results. So let's take a look at the plays from the video last week. We had two core plays that we gave out. And when I say last week, I mean 2 weeks ago. I skipped last week's card, not because I didn't play, not because I didn't research or wasn't around, although I was a little under the weather, in fairness. But primarily, I couldn't find a single spot last week that I thought was worthy of a play. So I skipped it. And sometimes that's the best way. But 2 weeks ago, the last card that we broke down, of course, we had two core plays, which I gave you right here. Gilbert Burns over 75.5 significant strikes. And of course, Kennedy Nchukwu, more than 43.5 significant strikes. We put the lineup in on the breakdown itself. During the breakdown, we smashed it to play. Very nice. As far as the 5 picks I gave out for the previous video, we hit once again. Man, I can never get all 5. It's crazy. The weird luck, but we hit 3 out of 4 with a cancellation. So, hey, we won some money. But more importantly than that, with these UFC videos, like I said, our core plays are what I'm focused on. And the core plays allow us these extra pairs to include with all of the plays that Will, Lynn, and Sniper are giving out in the DFS Army PrizePicks Discord. The live plays are the best plays, like the in-game fourth quarter plays, and you just need a pair. And if you had Burns or Nchukwu in your back pocket all week, you fucking smashed. So we're going to keep the smash going. I've got a core play for this week's card. I've got a 6-pack of plays to take a look at. This was not the easiest card in the world either, and I've spent a lot of time looking these up. So what I'm going to do here, I'm not just going to give you the plays. I'm going to explain why they're a play, and you can make your own decisions. That is how we do it on this breakdown. Of course, if you're not signed up for PrizePicks, you want to check that out. Make sure you click the link in the description below. Sign up with code DFS Army. They deposit match you $100. So basically, you go to PrizePicks, you sign up, you put in 100, they'll give you 100. You got 200 to play with. That's all you need to do. And we'll give you 2 months of DFS Army access when you do it for the PrizePicks subscription. If you already have a PrizePicks account, you want to crush it. Hey, watching the videos, Kev, love what you guys do with DFS Army. Didn't know there was a thing. Yes, we have a Discord. We've got a team full-time breaking down PrizePicks exclusively. Will Lynn is a beast. My boy is up at all hours of the Korean baseball, whatever it is, the most obscure sports. They're popping plays in the Discord nonstop. People, the tickets 5 and 6 to 6s nonstop. Right? So you can check that out as well. Link in the description below. Sign up for our Discord. Sign up for the DFS Army prop subscription. Access to the Proptimizer, the best props tool in the world, and only getting better. You guys are going to fucking have your heads explode when you see what's coming next for the Proptimizer. We never stop improving at DFS Army. Everybody who's a DFS Army subscriber already knows this. Those of you guys who love these videos, watch these videos, you'll find out. All right, so let's get into this breakdown. And right at the top of the card, my first play, and I think I'm going to call this one the core play, is Rodrigo Nascimento, less than 87.5 fantasy score. Now, let me explain why. Rodrigo is going up against Ilir Latifi, and Ilir Latifi is known. He is famous for just low volume. He is a very low volume striker, and he has landed on at a very, very low volume of strikes landed. As a matter of fact, if you take a look at Ilir Latifi's stats over here on UFCstats.com, you'll see he lands under 2 strikes per minute, but absorbs under 3 strikes per minute. This is very, very important. Very important. The other thing you will note is that his takedown defense is 100%. Now, this is a 40-year-old fighter. This guy has been in the UFC forever. So these stats are generated over a long period of time. So my question is, now let's take a look at Rodrigo Nascimento. He's landing for a reasonable 4 strikes per minute, though not enough to get to where we need to go. He needs takedowns. And so the question is, how does Rodrigo, let me get rid of this tab so I don't keep going back to it, but how does Rodrigo get to 87.5 fantasy score? Well, let's take a look at the scoring chart and understand how scoring works, right? 0.6 points for a significant strike landed. Then you've got takedowns defended, submission attempts, and knockdowns. Now, it's possible that Rodrigo will defend a couple of takedowns here. I give him that. Ilir Latifi does go for a takedown or two. He doesn't go for a lot of them because he'll gas. So he's like a little ball of power, right? So he might get a couple takedowns defended. But if he's just landing, let's say 4 strikes per minute or a little bit less than that, but let's call it 4, but a little less because Ilir Latifi somehow just does not absorb a lot of strikes. He likes to push his opponent in the corner, just pushes on you. He just makes it slow and boring, right? So let's say he lands 4 strikes per minute. All right, we got 20, 40, 60 strikes landed over 3 rounds. 36? That's just 36. So where 36 points for significant strikes plus the 20, that's 56. That's nowhere near the 87.5 we need. And a bunch of takedowns defended aren't going to get us there. In effect, what I'm saying is the only way that Rodrigo Nascimento hits the 87.5 would be for him to finish this fight in the second round. Now, is that possible? Yes. But is it likely? Well, Nascimento wins inside the distance is plus 145. So already the odds are skewed in our favor that he won't even win inside the distance. But I would argue that even a third round finish might not get us there. So that's basically this play. He needs to finish in the first 2 rounds. He might get there with a third round finish. But Nascimento inside the distance plus 145. Now, obviously, there are some risks here. As with everything, this isn't a lock button play. This isn't a stone cold lead pipe block. As a matter of fact, I think I like a couple of these other ones maybe even better. So we'll get into those. But I like this one, and I've used it effectively as a pair. I've watched enough of Ilir Latifi's fights to understand that he cannot be taken down, or it's unlikely for him to get taken down. But again, the risk here for me is the fact that his opponent is 40 years old and may not give a shit anymore about anything and just may be in here for a paycheck. So that part, I'm not able to quantify because that's psychological, and you know what? I'm not a doctor. So the opponent being 40 is the concern here, but Nascimento is more of a grappler, and he's going up against a 100% takedown defense guy. I think this stinks of a low-scoring decision. All right, next up, this one I really like a lot as well, and it's Natalia Silva over 50.5 significant strikes. Now, let's just start at the beginning. Is Natalia Silva likely to get us at least 2 and maybe 3 full rounds of striking? I'm going to say yes. Silva inside the distance, right? Or fight ends inside the distance minus 170. Silva inside the distance. Oh, it's so hard to find. There we go. Christina De Silva by KO TKO plus 160 by here we go. De Silva inside the distance minus 160. So they are giving her a good chance of winning this inside the distance. But the significant strike number here of 50.5 is something we can get to with just 2 rounds of striking. Now, these are 120-pound or 115-pound female MMA fighters. They don't tend to finish each other. They tend to throw a lot of volume. So let's take a look at the stats on this fight. And as we take a look at Silva, she's landing, here we go, 5 strikes per minute, over 5. Her opponent is absorbing almost 5 strikes per minute. Her defense, 44%, not very good by UFC standards. I do not expect Leonardo to be able to take down Silva or do anything to really slow her down here. So we're looking for 50 strikes. We get there in 2 rounds at 5 strikes per minute. It's that simple. Now let's take a look at Silva's previous fights. You'll see here that in her first fight in the UFC, she landed 96 strikes and got some takedowns along the way. Now, in her next fight, she went up against a fighter that is a great grappler and did a lot of pushing up against the cage with her. Teresa Bleda is actually good, and she was clinching, slowing it down, even got a takedown along the way. Silva landed 45 strikes. So we need 50. If we're just looking at these 2 fights, I think we can get there. I think this opponent, Leonardo's, really kind of mediocre and worse than Jasmine Jasdavicius, who Silva landed 96 strikes against. So for that reason, I like this spot. 50 strikes. It's not that much. It's women's MMA. Moving on. Next spot here, I've got Orion Cosi over 2 takedowns. Now, this one's pretty simple. Orion Cosi is a grappler. That's all. He just wants to wrestle. Let me bring up his stats as well. But he is exclusively a grappler, and he's going up against a guy who I think is going to be wild as well. And I think we could see 2 or 3 takedowns just within the first round for Cosi. Urbina has the ability to get back up. Urbina's going for takedowns. He's going for 4. Urbina's going for more takedowns per 15 even than Cosi. So is it possible that Cosi just is like, hey, I'm going to keep it standing. This guy wants to take me down? I guess, but like Cosi's best attribute are his takedowns. And what I've seen with Urbina is that he's a gasser. He will get tired. He will gas out. And that's when the takedowns come easy for his opponent. Now, I don't love this round number of 2, and this seems destined to potentially be a push. So it's definitely not something I want to build around. But let's put it this way. The spots are few and far between on this card again. So I lean towards this one happening over 2. If we take a look at Cosi's previous fights, here's 3 landed. He got 2 against Phil Rowe, who kicked his ass in the end. He got 3 against Blood Diamond. And the fight against Matt Dixon was the grappler in that one. He was only wanted to grapple, and Cosi was actually trying to keep it standing, which was really weird because that was the opposite of what he did against Blood Diamond. So he tends to adapt to whatever his opponent is bringing. And again, with Urbina, I think Urbina throws hard, and I think Cosi will be going for these takedowns. Now, this one's just a lean, not one that I want to build around this week. So this will be part of our 5 or 6 flex, but it's not something I'm using for pairs. All right, next one I really like a lot, and this is Diego Ferreira over 42.5 significant strikes, and I just think this number is way off. I don't understand where they came up with it. So here's the situation. Let's start with the fight itself. Carlos Ferreira is a minus 155 favorite, taking on Michael Johnson. Both of these guys are strikers, meaning this fight should take place on the feet. Michael Johnson will definitely not go for a takedown, and he has elite takedown defense. And Ferreira tends to, while he's a great BJJ practitioner, he's not going to be able to get Michael Johnson down. I don't even think he's going to try. So I think let's start with this thing is playing out on the feet. Now, fight ends inside. This is minus 205. Under 2.5 rounds, minus 160. So, that's scary. Over 1.5 rounds. So basically, this is a 10-minute expectation according to the odds. And when I want to believe, even though I think the fight goes to decision, personally, like I'm leaning that way based on these 2 fighters, the odds tell us 10 minutes. Okay, let's accept it. If I accept it, now I'm just taking a look at what happens in this fight in terms of the strike landed expectation. So looking over at Ferreira, here we go. Both Ferreira and Michael Johnson are landing over 4 strikes. It looks like Ferreira at about 4.5 strikes per minute. So Michael Johnson's absorbing about 4 strikes per minute as well. Okay. Where does that leave us? That leaves us 10 minutes of fighting, 4.5 strikes per minute. That's about 45, 46 strikes landed. So if we get a little bit of extra action, I mean, already we're at 45, 46. The number is 42. So we just need 2 rounds of striking, and the numbers say we should get here. Now, there's also the possibility of like just more volume than we normally see could get there. There's also the possibility of this fight going into the 3rd round. If you see this fight in the 3rd round, you will have already won this prop. You're going to be like, oh, I got it. Now, I don't want to assume that a fight goes to the 3rd round. So we're supposed to get 2 full rounds. If we start the 3rd round, though, I think we're good to go. Even through 2, I think we get there. And again, let's take a look at Ferreira's strike landed numbers, and you'll see that 54. Here's a 2nd round finish. That doesn't count. But in a hard fought 3-rounder, he's landing 109 strikes here. Here we got 83, 54. This is a 1st round finish. 65. So this is an early 1st round finish. And against Benny Dariush, who he got grapple fucked. So basically, whenever this guy has stood and banged, he's hitting 55, 60, even 100. I like the spot for Ferreira over 42.5. All right. Is this the last spot on? Yes. Last spot on our ticket. Mackenzie Dern, more than 24 3/4. Effectively, fight goes to decision. This one's very simple. I don't even really buy this. Like, let me make this one simple. I normally never play Fight Time. And the reason I don't play Fight Time is because these mirror what the line odds are on the sportsbook. And if you've watched the videos I've put out on the math of PrizePicks, you should never, ever take a minus 110 on PrizePicks. If it's available on the sportsbook, you should parlay it there because the sportsbook pays more for the same bet. Don't do that on PrizePicks. You do that on the sportsbook. So we're looking for odds in our favor. I cater to, if you're watching this channel, you could do whatever you want. But if you're watching this channel, what we're trying to show you, especially on games like PrizePicks or these other kind of sites, is, play in a profitable approach. If you want to play like a degen, we know how to play profitably. You might want to do that also if you want to be profitable at this. So you don't make money betting 50-50 proposition. You don't make money betting minus 110 spots. You just don't. Because you could bet that on the sportsbook. Why would you bet it here? So let me explain this one, and it's very simple. Fight goes to decision on this fight is minus 150. Fight goes the distance minus 150. That's all you need to know. So the odds makers have it at minus 150, and you're getting it right here. And they're giving us a bonus quarter of a minute, but realistically, we're getting it right here for minus, in a 5 flex, we're getting it for minus 120. You can even play this in a two play because it's minus 150, and we need minus 137 in order to skew the odds in our favor. It's that simple. So now, as far as the breakdown of this fight, yeah, I could definitely see it going the distance. Her opponent, Angela Hill, has very, very good takedown defense. Mackenzie Dern's takedowns are not very good. Mackenzie Dern is a BJJ practitioner. She's one of the best in women's MMA in terms of a submission grappler. And of course, that is the path to this failing, her winning by submission early. Now let's take a look at what the odds are on Dern by decision plus 215. Dern inside the distance plus 175. So can she do it? Yes, she can do it. I don't think I would imagine. Yeah, Hill inside the distance plus 800. That ain't happening, right? So Dern inside the distance plus 175. What more do you need to know? Let's say she wins inside the distance. Kev, you suck. Yeah. You know what? If you think she's going to win inside the distance, I strongly advise you just to bet Dern inside the distance at -1 at plus 175 because that pays as much as you got to hit 2 flex on the 2 flex to pay plus 175. Just about. So I highly encourage you, if you believe that she will win inside the distance, to bet Dern inside the distance plus 175. But if you don't, or if you believe that the odds makers are correct and that she should be plus 175, and that all the money being bet on this fight is correct, and that plus 175 is good, or here's 163 on a different book. So it depends on which book you look, right? But 5 dimes is the one we normally go by. This claims it's plus 125 on Bet Online. I'll believe it when I see it, right? This doesn't make this is a fake line. You know how I know it's fake? Because there's no doesn't win inside the distance number here. So it's plus 163, plus 175. That's the only way you lose this bet. Hill's not winning. She never wins inside the distance. Now, of course, some weird shit could go down. An eye poke, a DQ, something like that. But I don't think so. So there we go. Last spot on the 5 flex. Mackenzie Dern, more than 24 3/4 fight time. I'm going to give you another. First of all, let's put this play in, right? We put it in. Boom. Now I'm going to reuse some of these players. And I'm going to show you my two play, a couple of different 2 plays that I'm going to build off of this. But real quick, there were a couple of other ones that I liked as well. Where's Nascimento? Much like I like the less than 87.5. If you wanted to go 6 strikes for Nascimento, I like the over. Where is he? I like the over 40 significant strikes prop for him as well, although I like the under fantasy points better. Now, there were some other ones that I took a look at, but in the end, I couldn't pull the trigger on. For example, where is it? Yeah, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, under 75.5 fantasy. I kind of think Karolina could lose this fight, but even if she wins, should be super low scoring. So I'm not sure she can get there 75.5. So if you want to add that to your mix, I'm good with it. I like Lupita over 76.5 a little bit, but not enough to pull the trigger. So I'm going to stick with the plays. I also like Hooper fantasy score, but again, he's not favored to win, so we can't mess with it. I do think he will win, but I'm not messing with it because this isn't. I'm trying to keep predictions as much as possible out of this. So with all that being said, number one, if you enjoy this style of breakdown, guys, first hit that like button, please. Do me a favor. Not a lot of people see our UFC breakdowns. I think everybody's like, oh, what's going on for NBA tonight, and not realizing that the UFC breakdowns, we have not had a losing week yet. We've crushed them. The core plays have absolutely smashed week after week. We've missed, I think, one core play over the last 8 events. So I don't know what more I can do. But what I ask in return is hit the like button. Let us know. Also, let me know in the comments, what's your favorite prop on the board for UFC this week? Is it one? Are you going up against the big dog? Let me know. Did you find one that I didn't notice? Ask me about it. I'll tell you my thoughts. That's how we do it. All right. So let's put it together, a couple of 2 plays here. And my favorite, I really like the Nascimento less than. I like the Silva significant strike. So let's use that as. I also love this Diego. Oh, man, I love that one too. And this one. I love all 4 of these. So I'm going to make a few different versions of these. Let's go Nascimento and Silva. Let me try. I got to remember. Let's go a 2-pack, Nascimento and Silva. Let's do that. We're going to do another one with Diego. What's that? Sig strikes. We'll clear that. We'll do Diego more than. Who was the other one? See, this is the problem. I delete it, and now I can't remember what I was just doing. Hang on. Let's go to my current entries. The other one is Diego. We could do Dern over or Silva more as well. So we'll go back to the board here. We'll go Dern over 24.5. Let's do that. Now, for those of you, since you're seeing real numbers to explain what I do, I go with a $20 unit size, meaning for my 6 flex, 5 flex, 6 flex, I do $20. And therefore, when I'm doing a 2 play, I'll raise it up to $50, which would be 2.5 units, especially on these, especially when I'm going to make a bunch of different ones. What I've already done is I've already put some lineups in, or some pairs in, with Nascimento under 87.5 fantasy score, in tacos and other things that are popping up. But as those tacos and those other things, or like as Will Lynn is dropping, like I said, he's dropping fire live plays in the Discord, mix it up with the 4. Don't I think the one that I mentioned was more of a lean. Don't use that one, but the 4 that we just talked about, again, the 4 that we just talked about, Diego 42.5, Dern more than 24.3 Rodrigo under 87.5, Silva more than 50.5 SIGs. Mix and match them. Don't all do all one, but a taco pops up, pair with one, pair with all. Do all 4, but don't do all 4 together that often, because if one misses, you don't want it to spoil all the other ones. So mix them up, use them as your pairs, have fun. Let me know how you did. Let me know who you like this week. Let me know if I missed something in the comment section below. If you're not signed up to DFS Army, the prop sub, I think it's $35 a month. We have a 20% off going right now. You get the Proptimizer tool, which is unbelievable. And the Discord with Will and Sniper dropping their plays. It's 20% off, code props20. Link in the description to this video. So you want to get signed up for that. Get in our Discord. Get into the community. The PrizePicks community in DFS Army is the best there is. Really, really active. Lots and lots of plays dropping. Lots of chat going. You're going to love it. I think it's 20% off. It's like $28 a month. Check it out. Give it a try. We got a weekly version as well. I think it's $8 a week or something like that. Give it a try. Check it out. Link in the description below. Good luck this week. Let's cash those tickets. I'll see you next time.